Now that's some ice blasting. If you're wondering what the difference is between the 9mm and the 40 Smith & Wesson, stay tuned. All right, we're out here with the 40 caliber Glock 35 and the Recover Tactical Brace. If you have not yet watched my review of the Recover Tactical Brace, I'll have a link to it up above, as well as a link in the description. Right now we're just shooting full metal jacket, 40 caliber, 180 grain bullets. These are SIG bullets. They make these, just general factory rounds. Go ahead and we'll shoot a jug, frozen milk jug, a milk jug with water, and also a bowling pin, and see what kind of damage we get from it. First, the frozen water bottle. Milk jug full of water. And now the bowling pin. All right, we've got the 40 caliber. We'll do an accuracy test and run it over the cranny, see what kind of velocities we're getting out of it. Check out the velocities for this SIG 180 grain 40 caliber load. Now I've got the 9mm barrel switched out in the Glock 35. We'll go ahead and do an accuracy test with this as well. I've just got some standard 115 grain full metal jacket American Eagle rounds. Numbers for the 9mm. All right, let's see what these 9mm loads can do to some targets. All right, so this is the 40 caliber bullets. This is the damage that it did. So you can see some hits right there. And it did a pretty good number on it. Busted out the back pretty good. Left some ice on the ground there. Yeah, it did some good damage. And then this is the milk jug just filled with water. Did some pretty good damage. Blew out that back part and cracked it the back as well. Bowling pin with the 40 caliber. Holes right there. There's not going to be an exit hole. All right, now this is the 9mm damage. You can see a few hits right there. Doesn't look like it did quite as much damage as the 40, but still some good damage. Split that whole back out. Some ice got knocked out right there at the bottom. And then here is the milk jug filled with water. entry hole right there. Didn't split on the entry hole side, but it did split pretty good on the back end side. Looks like the 40 caliber did a little bit more damage with that. Now this is the hit with the 9mm on the bowling pin. Bowling pin, I wouldn't expect much damage. You could see it went in right there. It's just a bunch of dense wood in the middle, and obviously there's no exit wound.
Time for the analysis. First of all, I'd just like to say, with pistols, with these calibers especially, there is a lot of variation of loads. You can do plus P, you can reload it so that they're a lot hotter. I just went with factory loads so we can kind of get a baseline off of that, since I do feel like a lot of people are shooting factory loads. These are more along the lines of plinking loads. I've just got data from different blazer loads, from CCI blazer loads. To me, that's kind of a plinking ammunition, just full metal jackets. And I mean, well, I'm not going to go over all the data. You can see it here. The American Eagle and the 6 Hour, that's the data that I actually got, and then I calculated the muzzle energy. We can take a few things from the data here, depending on what load you go with. If you go with, you can, if you're on the light end of the 40 and you're on the light end of the 9mm, light end meaning light bullet weight end, it's right about the same speeds. Now, as I said before, obviously you can go and you can change things. You can reload it different. You can get different. They're about the same. Okay, and then you go to the high end of the bullet weight. You go to the 40, and you go to the high end of the bullet weight of the 9, and they're about the same. So just based off of that, you can see that the 40 will have more energy. It's shooting a larger bullet, same speed. Therefore, it's going to have more energy. If we take the 155 grain blazer ammunition, we're getting about 475 foot-pounds of energy, which is the highest with the loads that I have here as far as muzzle energy goes in foot-pounds of energy. And then if we take the highest muzzle energy from the 9mm, that's the American Eagle, the 115 grains. That's what I was shooting in the video. Now that's how I got that data. And that's 352. So the difference is 123 foot-pounds of energy. Now to kind of put that in perspective, you can see these energy comparisons. Now, the same goes for this. You can get a little variation in these energies for these different calibers. This is just kind of a rough estimate so we can get an idea. So 125 grains, that's close to the amount of muzzle energy a 22 long rifle has. Nothing to scoff at. I mean, it's got a little bit of energy to it. So, and that's a pretty significant difference in my mind. I'll tell you my personal preference. I'll probably get slammed with this with a bunch of comments, but I love 40 caliber. 40 caliber, I feel like it has a lot more knockdown power. You can get some really awesome loads for it. I like to use long shot in my reloads for it, and it gets those bullets flying. So I do really love 40. I think it has quite a bit more energy and power. But 9mm is awesome for plinking. It's cheaper to shoot. It's a cheaper bullet to manufacture. You can buy cheaper. You can load it cheaper. It's just cheaper in general. Loading it cheaper, maybe not by a ton, but it is cheaper. It doesn't require as much lead. Ballistically, if you get out past 100 yards or so, I don't know. I haven't looked at the ballistics on paper or anything, but just in my experience, ballistics are pretty much the same out to 100 150. If you look at it on paper, yeah, the 9mm probably has a little bit better, especially as you get out further than that. But from what I found, up to 100 150 yards, the ballistics seem to be pretty similar. So anyway, that's that's what I think. I definitely think the 40 has more power. Obviously, the 40 has more recoil. You can definitely feel that. But if you know how to shoot, you should be able to handle recoil well, and the 40 would do good. Now, obviously, if you're just going to range and plinking, probably a 9mm would be just fine for you. But if you want something for personal defense or for hunting or anything having to deal with needing energy to put down targets, or then you may want to consider the 40. It has about 25% more muzzle energy than the 9mm. Now, as far as penetration and everything goes, well, I don't know. Generally, you're not going to be shooting the 9mm and a 40 caliber to penetrate through something. If you're wondering about the self-defense application, well, I feel like if somebody had body armor on, whether it's a 9 or a 40, it's gonna stop it. But this kind of gives you then the data for the amount of energy transferred. Thanks for all the subscribers and for all the viewers. Appreciate your support. Let me know in the comments if you have anything to add to this video. And remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoyed it. We will see you next time on Firearm Fury.